This looks familiar. We're close to the final fight area. Oh yes.
Ah, there you are. I knew you would come, and I have grown very good at waiting. You are very different from the student I once taught. Death changed you, I imagine. I apologize for that indignity, but it was necessary. It was also meant to be the end of you, but you surprised me again. I should have studied your people before wiping them out. Even so, I did my best. I made you strong enough to achieve your destiny, but with a weakness I could exploit. I thought I anticipated everything, but you proved me wrong.
Don't I have that weakness still? I haven't done anything to get rid of it. If it's if I unconsciously sort of keep at it, my fighting style, shouldn't it still be there? I feel that should have been addressed at some point. And you have surprised me, but I know what you are now.
Do you? What am I?
Just a man. And you need to be reminded of it.
Just a man? No, I don't think so. If the last spirit monk must return from the dead to oppose me, I am far more than that. I killed hundreds of your kind, thousands, just for the chance to become a god. I can't let you live, now that I am one. I am more than Sanhai ever was. I will undo the damage of his ignorance, force the dead to their rest, and keep the waters flowing. My empire will be ordered, obedient, and neither ghosts nor gods will plague it. And you are all that stands between me and the new peace. My brother summoned underlings to defeat you. I will create them from the very stone.
Oh, demons. Familiar looking demons too.
Double sabers.
Could we get some teamwork going here? She's out. Yeah. This is not a good idea. Well, at least we... Ooh, water is coming in. At least we got through it.
Be careful. He still has great power to draw upon.
No shit.
impressive display. Your star shines bright, but it is still trapped within a mortal body. Perhaps a more direct application of my power will show you what you are up against. And just how restrictive your shell truly is. Yes, this will amuse me. Worse than actually dying. Seeing death come, and being unable to stop it. Physical barriers are no match for those we place in our own minds. My power has encased you in doubt, held you with the weight of your burden.
You try to paralyze my resolve. My will is stronger than that.
You and your followers are playthings. The rest are held just as you are. You are each too weak to match my power.
What the hell is going on?
I'm with him.
Yes. Well said.
Lee traps us in our own bodies. Add your strength to mine.
Double sabers. Thousand cuts.
Weapons won't work. Naturally, because it's a spirit enemy. Invisible walls. I don't think paralyzing palms gonna do anything here either. How tough is that? Not particularly tough.
Amusing but pointless. My talons are deep within you. More fools leap to your defense, but no matter. The weight of my power will crush you soon enough.
They strengthen me. You are too quick to abandon your allies.
I am with you. We haven't come this far to fail now.
We cannot let this stand, not when so much is at stake.
I stand with you. We will not fall just yet.
So repeat of the same fight. Yo, she's our enemy.
Thousand cuts.
It's using a different weapon, but basically it's the same. Fairly fast.
Your efforts are meaningless. Do you think to counter my influence by yourself? A god holds you. Nothing in the mortal realm can help you. Nothing.
Except the water dragon, maybe? Ah,
I have moved with you, hidden, trying to keep focus. I give you all that I am, all that I was. Restore what has been corrupted.
well, they pulled that out of their ass. Wonderful. We get to the actual fight.
Once again, I misunderstand. The raw energy, you are far too resistant to it. The loyalty you inspire is also tiresome, but I respect it. You have truly become a spirit monk. In another time, I would be proud of your ability.
You were a great teacher. Your skill was wasted on evil ambition.
I am not satisfied with helping others surpass me. I quickly tired of elevating my brother, and I will not learn to serve you. I see now that the Water Dragon's power is the prize, not the means to victory. No matter what I expend, while you live, you will resist. That is your role. It is the celestial bureaucracy attempting to restore balance. We must bring the fight back down to Earth, unless you are made to see reason.
Reason. Lay it on me.
What if I guarantee your name will live in the heart of each and every citizen in the Jade Empire? It is a glory beyond mere heroics. You would be eternal. I do not seek power as my brother did. I will correct the violence inherent in man. I will make certain there are no more wars, no more droughts. Everyone will be content in their roles, and they will hold in their hearts the warrior who sacrificed everything so that they might prosper. You could make that happen.
Those are ideals. That's not good enough. Try to have a discussion about a serious discussion with someone about how you could eliminate all wars in human society. Yeah, good luck with trying to come up with a solution that you're really satisfied with, that could actually be practical and work. He's just basically spouting rubbish. Yeah, I don't care about my reputation, so this doesn't really offer me much. Yeah. There can be no deals. Let's end this.
No great waves of energy, no demons from the walls. Skill versus skill, master versus student, as you said. I expect you have corrected the flaw in your style. No matter. Beyond the basics, I also taught you focus. Match me if you can.
At least the game has the decency to automatically save here. Really mind this. What style is he using? Looks like a paralyzed palm type of thing. Don't want to get hit by that.
Heavenly wave.
Ooh.
1,000 cuts.
can't make too much of a distance. Oh fuck. Can't do shit. What? Ah yeah, focus. Wonder if we could use the Jade Golem here. I'm just curious.
Golem Force.
It's not really taking all that much damage. Well, he's taking enough though, that's the part.
Thousand cuts.
You surprise me yet again. I'm a better teacher than I thought.
Why are they uploading me in the first place? Surely they have no idea what's going on. Congratulations, you have unlocked Jade Master Mode, the Master button in the character selection screen when starting a new campaign will now be enabled. Okay. Dawnstar. The defeat of Sun Li signaled a new beginning for the Jade Empire and a personal awakening in Dawnstar. Despite the loss of the Master she thought she knew, with the restoration of the natural order, the Empire seemed alive with possibility. She had seen the heart of the land in turmoil, so she retraced her steps, replacing memories of destruction with sights of renewal. Soon she found herself back into the ruin of two rivers. It was painful, but she took comfort in knowing that the fish were abundant and the land remained fertile. Eventually new settlers would come. She replanted her garden, a flower for each of her lost friends, and set out across the empire once more. Silk Fox. Though the credibility of her family was understandably marred by the actions of her father and uncle, Princess Sun Lian emerged from the incident with a newfound credibility that easily secured her claim to the throne. This was thanks in no small part to keeping Shadow Jian Wei very close at hand and making sure the people knew that he had her full support throughout the ordeal. Empress Sun Lian ruled over a new golden age of the Jade Empire that seemed like it would never end. Sky. Drastic shifts in power always create political and economic turbulence. The years following the defeat of Emperor Sun Li, however, things were remarkably calm, with food supplies reaching the poor and imperial control of areas abandoned to near lawlessness quickly restored. Those who were there credit the smooth transition to the aid of a group called the Guild, working under some mysterious imperial sanction. The Guild's agents moved supplies quickly to those who needed them most and helped the Imperial Army pinpoint camps of bandit leaders and others who threatened Imperial control. While the Guild faded from sight as peace was restored, stories persisted. Most stories recounted the exploits of this mysterious organization dashing new leader, Sky. His ready mile, endless energy, and kindness quickly made him a legend among the common people. Henpecked How Henpecked How's wife finally tracked him down and brought him back home to settle back into the simple bondmaster's life. A few years later, he became a father for the first time. Though having septuplets at his age was not unheard of, having 7 daughters at once was a bit peculiar. Shortly thereafter, Hal became deathly ill after accidentally eating a bun he intended to give to his wife. Hal's wife invited her entire family to live with them while he was bedridden. Hal recovered more quickly than expected, but word of his poisonous bun made sure that his career as a bondmaster was over. Instead, Hal became a delivery man, delivering packages throughout the Empire. He has yet to return from his first delivery. Wildflower. The will of the heavens was fulfilled. The heart of the water dragon was restored and her soul reborn. Balance returned to the heavens and the Jade Empire endured. His duty discharged, Chai Ka, the heavenly gate guardian, returned to his heaven once more. In honor of her service to the heavens, the girl Wildflower, whom Chai Ka had raised to serve as his anchor, was granted the most precious gift of all, life. She was given a chance to live a new life according to her own whim. Kang. After Sun Li's defeat, Kang the Mad enjoyed actual public appreciation for his devices. It was brief, however, and as the Empire returned to peace, his machines once more became the greatest identifiable threat to the common good. His flyers grew faster and more durable, the driving force so often an angry mob hurling ever larger stones. When last seen, Kang was boarding an alarmingly bare-bones device he had dubbed the Celestial Rocket Chair. While it allowed him to evade his latest pursuers, the launch also left a crater that suggested the escape was more permanent than he might have planned. Despite this, on each anniversary of their victory, Shadow Jianwei would find a fantastic new machine on his doorstep, seemingly appearing out of nowhere. Black Whirlwind. The Black Whirlwind accepted a job hunting demons for the celestial bureaucracy, but the ensuing red tape frustrated him so much that he gave up and made for the mysterious East. Shortly thereafter, the Empire received a great influx of outlanders, many of whom were missing limbs and other body parts. He returned to the Jade Empire several years later, but this time he came from the West. He couldn't explain how he did it, but he was the only person unsurprised to arrive back where he started. Expressing a newfound hatred for a people who couldn't make a decent bottle of wine, the Black Whirlwind vowed to never again leave the Jade Empire. A week later, he got bored and headed off to the north. Sir Roderick. Sir Roderick Pons von Fundelbottom, the magnificent bastard, left the Jade Empire a broken man. His skills had failed him at the moment of greatest import, and he found it difficult to stomach his defeat, despite his grand capacity. Surely he had not lost as badly as he thought. Surely there was some explanation. Surely he still had something to teach this barbaric land. After much soul-searching, he traded his last pair of pantaloons for passage to the prosperous East, and he began a long journey home. It is said he eventually discovered the Fountain of Couth, and is now virtually unflappable. That or he was accidentally killed by the Black Whirlwind. It's hard to say. People seem to lose interest. As for Percival, he tired of being called Shirley and returned to his village. That's it. Wow, that was a load of horseshit right at the end. Yeah. Um, I'm surprised that since everything else is voiced, they couldn't like have the people even read out those final endings in their own character's voice, or have some kind of narrator voice there, explain what happened. Yeah, Jade Empire. Um, I don't want to see this, so I'm going to loot the game. Mm. Mm, this is not a great game. Um, it's okay. Um, how should I put this? Let's start the pitching. Um, I already earlier bitched about how the story, in my opinion, isn't all that well told. It's not a bad story by any means. It's just it stumbles in the telling, and I don't particularly care for the characterization of most characters we have here, because they're so goddamn bland. And quite often they talk like they sit in a studio reading lines from a paper, and they have no idea about what the character actually went through just 5 seconds ago. So they sort of talk like this same calm, more or less calm voice constantly, no matter what's happening around them. So it's I can't really blame the voice actors. I think it's more of whoever was responsible for directing them fucked up, but whatever. Wouldn't The problem is not any individual thing like that. It's that it's all over the place. Everything has that. Everything has that final bit of effort that makes it really good, really fit. There is an item system for us in this game, like in most role-playing games, but this is basically it. And they're so similar. There's like you can choose a few point difference between certain stats, and that's it. That's it. There's no other difference. You can have items, or rather techniques, but everyone's going to have pretty much the same. Again, so what the problem is there is, there are no different, real kind of different item builds compared to a normal role-playing game. You have usually a lot of different builds because you have a lot of stats. You have evasion builds, strength builds, you can buff up health, you can try to do all kinds of different things. And I think a lot of the problem is the ability system. It's too simple, so it doesn't really allow variation. There's no damage resistance systems, for example, fire damage, ice damage. They're not treated separately. You're either immune to them or you just take damage like normal. So it's too mechanically too simple to really support an interesting itemization system. So again, it's not like the system doesn't work. It's just it's bland. It doesn't really allow variation, different builds. There's no feats I can take on level ups. It's just the difference between 3 points in ability scores, and that's it. That's all there is. So everything's going to be more or less bland, unless you probably try to go for something completely ridiculous, like focusing on a single thing. I didn't really. I took a few points of mine, and it's still 50% more. I guess 50% and plus to what I have in abilities, where I dumped a huge amount of points because of how the character development works. So yeah, we're not great at focus, but it was more than enough to get us through the entire game. So everything's just too simple to offer interesting gameplay variety. You have, even on the goody two shoes alone abilities, you have the evil, or for the lack of better word, evil option that does exactly the same thing that the good option does. So the choice in that respect is totally pointless. It just means what's the gem's name is that you're going to insert in your ability. You don't really make much of a choice. Then the abilities. In theory, there's a lot of abilities, but huge amount of them are shit. There's just the 1,000 cards is vastly superior to any other uh, fighting mode I've seen. Actually, granted, I didn't buy all of them and try them out, but it's not like it's slightly better. It's fast. It does huge amount of strikes in that fast time, and that's it. Because you don't have time to make those ponderous strikes, and they aren't that much more damaging. So see, it just seems sort of pointless. Same with the weapons. I guess they have the style is a bit different, but is it really different enough to justify all these different styles? At least the staff style was terrible. I guess my biggest problem would be the magic though. It's pretty much the same, at least the two I had, and the fire was sort of the same. The biggest problem is it doesn't really work on anyone. You wouldn't want to use it in a fighting situation. It just, and the targets, yeah, the demons were one of the few targets where it could have been good at, and they're immune to it. So it just, compared to a typical role-playing game like an D&D, you have wizards, clerics, at least usually druids, a huge amount of spell list, a lot of different type of effects. Even Dragon Age, you only have mages, but you have a different type of mages. You have the transformations. You have a lot of spell abilities that you sort of play around with. So you can actually build a decent mage. Here, you have to have martial arts and weapons. Otherwise, you can't really play the game. Something is always immune to the other, so you have to have them, which again leads to the problem that you're probably going to have the sensible character that is more or less the same. You can choose your little bit of focus, but it has to be able to do the same things. You can't play a mage, you can't play a martial artist, you can't play a weapon focused guy. Actually, the weapon focused guy might be the few things, at least in the sense that you just use that and nothing else. It's at least to the point that it's not really a supported gameplay style. Everything's just too simple. The Stone Immortal and Ice ability, you would imagine that they're able to do different things, but they're basically the same. The Stone Immortal has a better sort of a paralyzation ability, but the basic attack is the same, and the paralyze is exactly the same. So it's I don't want to bitch about every individual system separately, but just a few examples of the game mechanics are too simplistic and shallow to be so that the game can't stand alone on them. The combat system is fluid and responsive and basically just fine, but because of the lack of options, every fight is basically the same. You just can't do all that much. There's a couple of options, like transforming into a Jade Golem and just beating the shit out of everyone, but other than that, you can try your support attack and try to do some kind of harmonic combination. By the way, I still don't know what the fuck that is. I'm not even sure that I even once succeed in doing that, because there's no real indication. Maybe I did, maybe I don't. I don't know. That could have been something, but again, don't know. Certainly not necessary. But I guess the point when we got the 1,000 cuts, the paralyzing palm, there was very little point in the fighting. There were a couple of bosses that were somewhat tricky for one reason or another, but after that, just they had nothing. And the point system is sort of or style point system is odd because you get some of these abilities so late that there's not really much point in investing in them anymore. Maybe they would make more sense on a harder difficulty level, so you'd have to switch between them to use their immunities, like the Red Minister is immune to weapons. So based on what the other opponent is using, you'd have to take advantage of it. But with us on this difficulty level, it's totally not an issue, not even remotely. I guess the toughest fight we had was the Arena Championship, and I feel that's because that's the first thing we more or less did. If we would have gotten a few additional combat styles, sorry about that, we would have gotten the 1,000 cuts, maybe the paralyzing palm. Uh, Probably could have gotten the Jade colon too, because we could have turned down the Assassin's Tower, and before going into the Emperor City up in the sky, we could have done then. So even that could have been a lot less troublesome. But yeah, it just everywhere I look, it sort of falls flat. Not flat enough to be bad, but flat enough that I don't know if the game even justifies a second playthrough. The fact that you can do the harmonic system or the more aggressive one, where you probably want to take toward Dragon's power for yourself, justifies another playthrough. Maybe to see what you can do with your companions too. But I don't. I wouldn't imagine that the second playthrough would be all that interesting either, because of the lack of options. I still think it would probably be okay, because you could at least shift things to another direction enough that you would play differently through most of the game. Maybe try to force yourself to use other abilities or disciplines, maybe use more demon forms, something like that to force things to go differently. But that's it. Again, it's not bad. It's just Bioware role-playing games do the characterization and plot better usually, and pretty much any role-playing game does the actual game mechanics better than this. So this doesn't really have anything exceptional going for it. It is well made for the most part. The action is smooth. It's not terribly appealing because of the lack of variety, but it works for what it is. It works just fine. It's just fast enough, easy to control, uh, flashy enough, much improved over some of the more boring systems like in Knights of the Old Republic, where you just sit around and there aren't that many abilities you can use. So you have just stand still there, maybe shooting at the other guy, waiting for a minute before some of you dies. So in that sense, the gameplay is improved, but because is shallow the correct word here? It lacks, so it's too simple, so it lacks a lot of options and variety. So even if it has improvements on the since of the lack of options, it doesn't feel that much more improved. But yeah, it's still definitely not a bad game by any means. I would say this is probably a good game for the first time to play through. After that, it's probably peters to sort of average because of the lack of options. But there's nothing particularly terrible about this. Couple of invisible wall situations, but that's it. And on a long game like this, that's a minor gripe in the long run. It was very annoying when it happens, but on the long run, it's a minor gripe. So I guess it bothers me because this is just a few changes, maybe a little bit more banter between the characters, the NPCs especially between each other, so their personality could come better out. So how they feel about each other in different situations, how they value different choices morally, how would they act. A little bit of a more in-depth gameplay mechanic system, especially with the automation or character building. Something like added feat system, so you could build choose a certain way to build your character in addition to the ability scores, and this could have been a proper good or even great game. But now it just sort of falls a little shy of that, and that sort of irks me for some reason. It's an okay game that could have been a truly good game.